So kind of poorly made calendar there, but what we have, we got 18 school days till you take your EOC. Y'all take your EOC the first day. We can take EOGs, so that's that Thursday right there. That is 22nd of May. One of the big things y'all got to be aware of also, a little different on this calendar from other years, is this last week of school here. Rather than y'all having the option of coming in the summer and doing some remediation and retaking a test you might not pass, it'll still be during school. You'll be doing and retaking it. So, optional. All right, let's start off with this one. Find the residual for when x equals 11. So using the best fit linear model there, it says which choice, but I left off the multiple choice. Just go ahead and find the residual for x equals 11. I think I got it. Riley? 1.04 is correct. Y'all, the problems like this should hopefully be relatively easy. They sometimes take a second to do, but as long as you remember what you're doing, they shouldn't be too bad. You enter the table into Desmos. Once you have the table in, since this is a linear model, you want a linear function, so you're going to do your y1, then square plus b. Once you have that, you have the option, a little box pops up that says you can plot the residuals. So you click that, and it gives you the column next to the y column that tells you what the residuals are. This one, you got round a little bit, has a longer decimal, but it gives you the 1.04, and like I said, a longer decimal to it. All right, everybody good with that? All right, so a little bit different on this one. We got a table. It's asking, what does the best fit exponential model predict for the value 6 years after Jack made the $1,200 initial investment? So we got to start off the same way. We want to put our table in. Big difference here, though, is this is not a linear table. This is an exponential table. So once you put your table in, for an exponential function, you want to do the y1 squiggle. You got your AB with an exponent of x1. And I'll tell you what your A and the B are. The A is your initial value. The B is the rate. And then there's a couple of different ways you could do this from there. Answer. So we got about 1424.8. Kind of depends exactly on how you rounded this. Some of y'all got slightly different. There's, like I said, there's different ways you can kind of pull this one off. When you go to put in the table, or once you got the equation, some of you did x equals 6 and found where they crossed. If you did it that way, you got about what Adrian said, which was, what do you say it was, 1424, about. A couple of you got the equation, and it depended on how you rounded that. When you did the equation, you had about 1199, and it was, you have about 3%, and if you put it to the 6th power for the 6 years, you got about 14, we'll just say 32 about. So like I said, it depends exactly on how you rounded it. Couple different ways it could go, a little bit different here and there. This one, if it were multiple choice, the answers wouldn't be like so close that you wouldn't be able to tell though. Any questions on that? Problems like this, that's a lot of times how it goes. It depends on like how you round a little bit. A few cents here and there don't make like a huge difference usually on these problems. When you do use this equation here though, your initial value, you know, right there, you got 1200. You could probably have used that too. That'd make it a little different. All right, try those two. We need the midpoint on the first one. And then on the second one, we need the other endpoint. typo. And endpoint. Who thinks they can give me the midpoint on that first one? So we got 9, 2. Midpoint is the halfway point, halfway in between the two things. So basically you add them up, you divide by 2. So we got 12 plus 6, that's 18, divided by 2, that gives us the 9. That's the x values. 8 plus negative 4, that's positive 4, divided by 2, that gave us the positive 2. So that's the y value. A little trickier on the second one, where you got to find the other endpoint. Anybody think they got that? All right, so we go, there's our endpoint, there's our midpoint, we need the other endpoint. So to go, let's switch colors. To go from here to here is up 8, right? That means to go from here to here, gotta go up 8 again, right? That's what a midpoint is, it's in the middle. So it's gotta be the same distance. So 3 plus 8, that's where the 11 comes from. Other side, with the y values, same idea, we gotta follow the same pattern each time. So from 2 to negative 3, that's down 5. So we gotta go down 5 more, negative 3 minus 5, or down 5, that makes it negative 8. Okay? Any questions on either of those? It's definitely maybe a little trickier with the endpoints, but that's all you have to do is just kind of follow the pattern that they already started. All right, so first thing you gotta do, you gotta distribute. So the x gets multiplied. So I got 5x squared minus 4. That parentheses doesn't really matter at this point. When I distribute there, I've got minus x squared. I'm going to distribute that minus x also. And then I've got a minus 3x. 5x squared minus x squared. That's 4x squared. That's the only one with 4x squared. Minus 3x, nothing to combine it with, so I got the minus 3x. Minus 4, minus 4. That's a minus sign between the parentheses, so I don't FOIL the two different parentheses. There's no multiplication between them. So that's it. A is the correct answer. All right, sometimes with systems of equations problems, let's make you get the equations. All right, so we got amusement park offers two types of go-kart rides. Basic rides are $12 each, premium $20 each. We just equated yesterday. We purchased go-kart rides and paid it $1,584. Rides P purchased yesterday. 86. So we have R and we got P, right? Those are the types. 86, right? Hey, look. No. No. How much were the basic rides? 12. Which one was the basic rides? R or P? R. So which one does the 12 go with? So which one's the right answer? Hey, look at that. All right. They're not that difficult usually, okay? Like they should be this easy type of problem. Just take a second, think your way through it. We've done plenty of problems like these, right? Where we get the equations, we can do problems like these. They're no problem. Is just take the time to think through it, get the equation correctly, and make sure you're remembering which variable's which. We got inequalities. We did these a while ago, graphing them. We're going to do this without Desmos. Okay? So, who remembers when we flip the inequality sign? Negative what? Negative y. So are any of the y's negative? No. So we don't need to flip the sign, do we? All right, so are we shading above or below? We're shading above, so that means we should be chomping at the y, right? So that means no and no. All right, everybody good with that part? The y-intercept would be c divided by b. Both of these gives you -1. That's not helpful. So the slope is the answer. Slope is rise over run. So I got -4/3. Anybody remember for my standard form? Which one is it? Is it B over A change the sign or A over B change the sign? A over B is correct, yeah. So since it's A over B, that would make our answer D. All right. Any questions on that one? All right, we're going to do this without Desmos also. What goes on top? A times C. So we got A times C on top. So in this case, that's 8. On the bottom, B is on the bottom. So in this case, that's negative 9. Since my C value is positive, that means the signs have to be the same. Since the B value is negative, that means they both have to be negative. Okay? So I got two negative numbers. What two numbers are going to multiply to make 8 and add to make 9? Yeah, 1 and 8. All right, everybody go with 1 and 8? All right, what do I have to do now? I will have to switch the signs. I would do something before then. We got to divide by our A. So whenever we have an A coefficient, we got to divide by that. And then we're going to simplify on the one that we can. So when I simplify there, 2 goes into both of those. So zeros, when we have zeros, we change the signs. So my zeros would be 1/2 and 4. There's probably going to be at least one on the inactive where you got to find zeros or solutions or x-intercepts or whatever they decide to call them on that problem.